Welcome to Live DIY. I'm Blake at the Hanger, and today we're gonna hammer some nails, but we're gonna do it the quiet way. Normally, I'd grab a hammer, but sometimes you need a lot more control, a lot less noise, and a lot less chance of damaging the workpiece. That's where this Arbor press comes in. It's a simple cast iron machine that uses a hand lever to generate 3 tons of pressing force. And today I'm gonna find out what it's actually useful for. We'll start by pressing a few nails into this wood block without the use of a hammer, and then we'll try a few other projects to see if this thing deserves a permanent place in my shop. All right, so let's start small with just a little tack. It's hard to get your fingers in there to get it right where you want it. Okay, I got it where I want it. I'm just gonna put minimal pressure. Let's see. Okay, it went in a little bit crooked, but honestly, so do a lot of my nails when I put them in with a hammer. Now, this is a cup nail. Oh, that's a really nice sound. Can you hear that? All right, now this is... Oh, I like this one. This is a much thicker nail. Putting that in with a hammer would have been a lot of work, and I definitely would have missed it a few times, and it probably would have even come out bent. This is my personal favorite. I'm excited about putting this in. I've never been able to hit these with a hammer and have them go in smoothly. So this is going to be extra satisfying. Well, I've definitely proven that it can drive nails in easily and quietly. Now I have here my leather welding apron, and I'm going to use the cutting tool to see if I can cut a hole in this piece of leather without using a hammer. Now this wasn't the right backdrop because it's a little too soft. So let me try that again with a little bit better of a back piece. Well, that worked really well and quiet. Now that I've cut this nice hole, I'm going to go ahead and add a grommet using one of these cheap little tools that you can get. So here's our base, here's the bottom, and we'll lay our material in there and our top piece. And press. That looks like I did a great job. And it's tight. And I didn't have to make any noise at all. Okay, so let's put something else together using nails into wood. So this is just a wood frame and a piece of wood. I'm just going to attach it to the back here. Now, these nails are actually a little bit too short. I don't know if you can see how short these are, but they barely make it in there. Now I am going to add a little bit of glue just to make sure that it, or a lot of glue. But I actually like that the nails are a little bit too short, because if I was using a hammer, I might be worried that when I hammer this nail in and then move on to hammering this nail in, that the impact from the hammer would start loosening this nail as this rocks back and forth from the impact. So we're using these nails just because we like the way they look, and I'm going to see if I can put them all in without it falling apart. Eventually the glue will end up holding this thing more securely. But meanwhile, okay, our first nail goes in right here, enough room. Okay, that's where I want the nail. Just go very quietly. And put this in. That went in a little bit crooked. Oh. So I'm very happy with that. That is exactly what I was hoping for. And it didn't make any noise. I could do that in the middle of the night. I have here an empty pop can. I just want to know if this does a better job than the pop can crushers that we all have in our kitchens. Oh, center this. And let me make sure wow. So you really got to hold on to this thing so that it doesn't just fall. Wow, that is thin. That did a great job. So the Arbor press also has a tensioner back here. So I can tighten this and it'll stop it from falling automatically. But if I release it, it'll fall for me. So I like to have it just enough so that it won't fall on its own, but it takes minimal pressure to, gives you a lot more control and your fingers don't get smashed under there. Okay, so let's see what else this thing can do. I want to know if I can put corks back in a bottle. So let's see if we can fill this thing with That's a cool sound. This is the one for us. Yeah, it's these foam ones that don't seem to want to go in. Maybe try one more. Okay, well that was interesting. Putting corks back into a bottle. At the beginning of the video, I showed you the mini Arbor press. Now these are much more readily available. They're much more inexpensive, and they're fully capable of doing what they're meant to do, which is putting in bearings and bushing. So the Arbor press is really fun. I'm probably not going to keep this little one out in the shop. I'll probably put it in a box. I can see this being used for a specific purpose in a small production environment, but as for the Famco 3, I believe that this is going to live in my shop. I think it's very capable, and it's heavy duty enough that I'm not going to be afraid to throw a project at it just to see if it can do it. And also it's very heavy, and I want it to live somewhere permanently, even if I don't use it very often. Okay, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions of things you'd like to see me use this tool for, let me know in the comments, and subscribe, because next week I'm going to be reviewing this electric foam cutter. It's a hot knife for cutting styrofoam and foam board like that.